Well, hello, everyone, and welcome once again to eXpU Lab. I'm Brian Ellington, Chief Learning Officer for eXp Realty, and I'm joined today by Lauren Hammond of the Casa Group in Northern Virginia and Richmond area. Lauren, thanks so much for being with us. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I'm super excited.
Awesome. So today you're with the Casa Group with my friend Rob Chavez. Tell us a little bit about your journey in real estate.
Yeah, so I got my license right out of college. I graduated in 2020, mid-pandemic, and I had kind of started to think about what was next, and real estate was like this little bug in the back of my brain. I don't know why. No one in my world was in real estate. It was just one of those things. And someone in my world just said, Lauren, take the exam, take the class, take the exam. Just if you try it and you hate it, great, you tried it. So I took the class, took the exam, and I learned that my very best friend's father, mind you, I've known her since the second grade, is a loan officer and has been my whole life. I had no idea. So it was super cool. He said, hey, Lauren, you passed the exam. I saw Rob Chavez, this really cool guy. You would really like him. He posted on LinkedIn that he needs an assistant. And I think that would be a really good way for you to get your feet wet. I'm like, all right. He's like, call him up. So of course I'm like timidly, I'm like, hi, it's Lauren, and we had a conversation. He's like, and if you know Rob, you know his energy and just like his compassion. He's like, you know what? No, you're not going to be an agent. We're going to interview you to be, or you're not going to be my assistant. We're going to interview you to be an agent. And I'm like, okay. So literally I only talked to Rob, only interviewed with Casa, didn't know any different otherwise. And I say all the time, like, I just feel like I can't imagine being anywhere else. And like, you just never think your best friend's dad's going to get you your first opportunity that turns into something so amazing, but crazy. Just the way the stars aligned has been amazing.
Well, that's awesome. And so tell us about your business today in real estate. Give me a sense of production level as we go to talk about lead gen.
Yeah. So this year I'm on track to do 380K in GCI. And that's about 32 units. And I started my business 4 years ago up in Northern Virginia. That's where I grew up. And last year I was internally promoted within our team to be the area director, which is just our way of calling me a team leader. So I run our Reston expansion team of 11 agents. And I'm now in Richmond, which is why you see Northern Virginia and Richmond under my name, building out our Richmond expansion team, hiring agents, training, doing all that, and producing. So my business has grown immensely quickly in the last really 3 years. Cause the first year you gotta get your feet wet.
Yeah. And when you and I spoke at EXPCon, you do a significant amount of that business through social media. I'm curious, because I'm going to ask you a bunch of detailed questions about what you do, but how did you get into social media as your lead gen methodology?
Yeah, good question. So, when you get in the business, any coach or team leader is going to say, pick up the phone and call everyone you know. Tell them you're in real estate, right? Well, I was 22 and I was like, first of all, call people and call my friends. Like, that's weird. We don't do that, right? So I did. I started, I kind of dabbled, and then I got a little distracted by shiny things. I tried to door knock, hated that. Tried to cold call, hated that. Open house, I can do that. Okay. But then I just was like, you know what? The thing that feels exciting to me would be to post online and start to share, educate my sphere about buying a home, basically taking them on the journey with me. Because I myself was learning how to buy a house. Like, what does that mean? What are the benefits, right? So social media, just after kind of trying and failing a few things in my first few months, I was like, this feels about right. So that's kind of how I landed on that's going to be my one thing. If I have to wake up every day and do it, I better like it. And that was the one thing that I liked, that I knew I could do again and again.
I like that very much. And when you think about your posting, is there a cadence? Is there a schedule you follow?
I'm going to be honest with you. No. There should
Okay.
be. Right, there really should be. I'm at the point now where I need to hire leverage. I've pushed it out, pushed it out, pushed it out, and that has kind of I've saw a little bit of fluctuation in my consistency this year because I'm just one human being, right? And I need that leverage to click the button for me, right? Just I create the content, just click the button. So no, my ideal world is that I'm posting 3 times a week of a reel or a picture carousel, and then at least 3 times a day on my story.
So tell me the difference between real and story of how you approach it and why you're doing so many more frequent stories than other things.
Yeah. So are you familiar? Like if you go on Facebook at the top, there's like a little circle around someone's name and it's just
Mhm.
like Joe Smith and you can click it and it will show you a picture and then it will change. Like in a couple seconds, it changes. Now you're looking at Sally's. So stories are these 24-hour moments in time that you can share that what I use them to do is like create the story of what am I doing all day long as a real estate agent? What am I teaching? What am I learning? What am I like everything? And that helps me stay, I'm just always there, right? My story is always there for 24 hours and I'm usually doing at least 3 a day. So they'll stay and I do them throughout the day so they're spaced out. And the next day, then it just kind of adds to it, right? That little story kind of book. Think about each story as a page. Like just keeps there's more pages. Every day Lauren's adding a page. Whereas a post is there forever, right? You put it on there once, it's there forever. Someone can scroll through and look at all your old posts, but stories they can't. They're just
Okay.
there for that 24-hour period and then they're gone. So I use that story piece to just constantly be staying on someone's like in their algorithm. Like I'm always talking to everyone about real estate or my world, which like all of it connects. So they're always seeing me doing something and thinking, Lauren, real estate, Lauren, real estate. And like they're just making that connection in their brain
And
every time.
that is the name of the game, right?
Yeah.
To do that for enough people so that that percentage that are going to convert today convert
Hmm.
with you. When you think about your stories versus your static posts and things of that nature, I would be tempted to dual use the content since the story is going to go away after a bit. If it was a good story, I found myself going, "Oh, that's a valuable piece of information." I'd probably go create a post. Is that what you find yourself doing as well?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
I will just like I'll pop my phone up and I'll tell the story of what I'm doing or what's happening with a client or a problem I'm solving. And you've made the thing. You just have to save it to your phone and then later I will. I was like, that's actually a really good piece of content that I want to be there forever. So if someone was to find it, they'd be like, "Oh, right? That's a good piece of educational content." Or it's entertaining, right? People like to be entertained too. So yes, absolutely. You can use them for both. Yeah.
When you think about the kind of content that you make, are you purposefully leaving out calls to actions? Do you have some sort of formula for jab cross in terms of value? Now I'm going to ask them to go do something. How do you approach getting them to actually jump and do and reach out to you?
Yeah. So this is where my stories come into play, those 24-hour bubbles that are there. Like this, pretty much stories is how I've built my social media and converted people into clients. So I'll post because posting the consistency of showing up, whether or not someone's listening to you, is important to start to build the foundation in someone's busy world that Lauren is a real estate agent. I'm just building the foundation. Whether or not they're interacting or watching, I don't care. But I'm building that foundation. Subconsciously, I'm there. In the stories, there are, maybe I'm jumping ahead, so tell me if I am. There are buttons called stickers within Instagram. They
Okay.
have, there's a poll, questions, there's a quiz button, There is a little slide. You can kind of like slide an emoji to show if you like it or not. There's all these different interactive tools. And what I do is I post content on my story that I then add a sticker to. So for example, something that I do all the time that people love is when I show a house, I will take a picture of the front of the house and I will say 3-bed, 2-bath in Reston, Virginia. Guess the list price. And then I'm going to use the quiz button, because the quiz button immediately tells the user who decides to choose if they're right or wrong.
Oh, cool.
So they'll pick, and what people do is like, no way, I can't believe it's that expensive, or no way, that's it, right? Like, oh my gosh, tell me more. What it does is I can see, because people are physically touching a button, first of all, who, and I know that those who's are people who are clearly interested in some way, shape, or form in real estate, right? Whether they can buy it or not, whatever, they're interested, and I'm entertaining them. They want to give their opinion. We know people love to give their opinion about stuff. So I use that. And then based on who answers, I'm going to send them a DM directly. I'm going to say, oh my gosh, can you believe like $700,000 for an end unit townhouse in Northern Virginia? And I'm starting conversation, right? I'm using those stories of what I'm doing and adding that educational element in to then create a conversation. And then I'm going to back into rapport. I'm not necessarily going to drag on a real estate conversation unless it's very naturally flowing. I'm going to back into, and again, I don't have 10,000 million followers that I don't know. These are all people in some way, shape, or form connected to my world. So then I'm just like, hey, like I haven't seen you since high school. How are you? Or I see you just got engaged. Congratulations. Where are you guys living? I'm now becoming that person's friend. I'm pulling down the quote unquote sales face of me, and I'm just putting on my like genuine, authentic, I love people. People give me energy. Learning about other people's worlds gives me energy. And so I'm just leaning into that. And I'm making them my friend. And I put them into my formal CRM. Even if I don't have their email or their phone number, it's always important for me, if Instagram were to fall off the earth tomorrow, I have my conversations and interactions with people in my CRM, so that if I could find them on another platform or whatever, I could reconnect. But ultimately what I'm doing in my CRM is I'm setting a task to follow up with them based on the conversation that we had. So it might not, again, be a task to ask them for their email address and phone number for a CMA, because that's boring, right? Like no one wants that kind of DM. But maybe I'll just remind myself like, hey, interact with X and such if you haven't in a while. So I'm just going to go to their profile, find the story that they posted last or the last thing they post, and I'm just going to respond. I'm going to be their friend. Just going to show up there. And very naturally, that has led to people then going, you know what, Lauren, actually, I've been thinking, my lease is up in the next 9 months, and like, I just don't want to re-sign it. I cannot tell you how many of those DM conversations I've had, and they just kind of flow when you are somebody's friend and you're always reminding them that you're in real estate through your posts and your stories.
All right, Lauren, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your hard-won wisdom with us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Anytime. And thank you for being here. We will see you guys next time. Until then, bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.